Well, hello! It's been a long time since you've heard me on this channel in this way. I'm Ryan, Prop.Geaver here. It's been a while since I've done scripted stuff. I realize that. I've been planning on getting back to it, and I wanted to do that with a huge Xeno Explained series, of which the first few episodes on Xenogears is still up. I'm going to keep those up because I do like those videos. But I realized very quickly how much that would entail. Like, going on the pace that I was going, Xenogears itself was probably going to have like 4 videos of that length of like multiple hours of content. Multiple hour content is stuff that I tend to like to do, but I just did not have the time to get content that I would like to record, that I would like to write. So, because I didn't want to do it unless it was the way I wanted it, and so I just didn't end up doing it because I know if I half-assed it, I wouldn't have liked it, and it would have just been shoving it out. So I have decided to do something different that would satisfy that level of explaining as much as I can. And in doing so, I figured, well, why am I going to like plot synopsize all of the really minor, small details when I can upload a full playthrough with myself, which will also give me a reason to replay them again, because especially with the Xenoblades, I'm always in a position where I want to replay them. But also with the Xenosaga trilogy, not many people have the chance to play them, because they're only available on PS2 and haven't been re-released or ported or anything like that. Same with Xenogears, which has been a little bit more available on the PS3 and Vita and whatnot. And emulating it is a bit easier, given it's PS1. So I wanted to do 2 things. I wanted to have a full playthroughs of each Xeno game available, where I try to explore as much as I can. And I'm going to have those like be time-stamped, so if you're just looking just for the story stuff, you can go through that. I still have to add some of the timestamps to Xenosaga 2 and 3, but that's going to be coming. And once those videos are all uploaded. Sorry, I'm sick. I've been ever since Thanksgiving. I've had this cough, so I'm gonna try to like edit it out. But once those gameplay videos are all set and all uploaded, then I will be able to come in with my analyses and be able to say like, this is the content. If you want to know the baseline story, I'm gonna be doing something deeper level that'll refer back to those videos. This video specifically is not that, because a unique situation, because I've been playing through the Xenosaga series. The footage that I've been uploading has been taken from my recent playthrough, where I've been streaming it on Discord to some friends. So I've been making these PowerPoints because I'm not always, streaming at the time when people are available. Sometimes I'll have days where I'll do it offline. So I've made a recap PowerPoint of the entire series. It's not done yet. I'll get to that in a moment. But I've been doing this as like when there's big moments and I like gather everybody together, like, oh, let's go watch the finale of Xenosaga 2. I'll usually like run through a quick part, so like it can and then I got the idea. I wanted to make a video out of these PowerPoint presentations because I think it was fun. So this PowerPoint contains the whole Xenosaga trilogy and all of the Japanese exclusive content outside of Xenosaga Freaks, because Freaks isn't that important. And it's not done yet. It's like 60% of the way through Episode 3. And that's largely just because Xenosaga 3 is thick. It is thick. I've referred to Xenosaga 1 and Xenosaga 2 as like 50% of a story, each of them. And then Xenosaga 2 comes in and is like 200% of a story. So I'm going to be continuing that. This video is going to solely be the Episode 1 recap. So this is going to be what I put in addition to the playthrough. Because I want many different ways. If you're not really getting the vibe of the PS2 game, but you still like the story or whatnot, there's also the anime, which I compiled and uploaded together. And if you really want that kind of like really Ryan Prof.Geaver analysis, I've got this PowerPoint here. So, with Episode 1 specifically, it does not touch specifically on every point-by-point plot structure, as I do leave that for the gameplay and the anime to kind of cover. So we're going to talk about some important things, but we're not going to be doing it point by point. With that recap out of the way, also, I'm here. This is me. This is what I look like. This is something new, and I talk with my hands a lot, so you're going to get to experience that. I try to have the setup where I have like the content here and me here. If this is like not distracting, let me know. But with all that preliminary stuff out of the way, I think we'll begin. So, Xenosaga is a fantastic series that has a lot of issues, and it's clear of why it didn't succeed in the way that Takahashi wanted it to, both Takahashi and Xenosaga. But I think it has some of the craziest plot developments, and it is the DNA of what they definitely wanted to go through for the rest of Xenogears and Xenoblade in the future. So, before we start the PowerPoint proper, I have to give thanks to the Xenosaga Wiki. This page has huge depths of information on everything Xenogears and Xenosaga. It was instrumental in helping me make any sense of this. Obviously, I've played these games when I was younger. I've replayed them recently, but there's just so much information on Xenosaga and Xenogears that even replaying through, I needed to come to the wiki to like confirm information, to compile everything. This wiki is fantastic. I know fandom sucks as a host. I know. But if there's ever a wiki that is helpful despite being a part of fandom, it's this one here. This has so much good information. And it also has very critical information on the Japanese exclusive content, including Xenosaga, Pied Piper, A Missing Year, and the 1 and 2 DS retelling. I'll be talking about all of those after Xenosaga 2. So there will be its own video. But Xenosaga, when you start talking about it, one of the first things that you discover is the Zohar. So this is definitely, totally, 100% not the conduit from Xenoblade 2. I'm being sarcastic. It's the same thing. This is the most important thing in all of Xenosaga, and Xenogears, I would say. It is a source of seemingly infinite energy, and it was discovered in Kenya, Africa, at Lake Turkana in 2001. And that year is important because it is a reference to the monolith from 2001: Space Odyssey. I just had to pause there for a moment because I forgot the name of that movie, and like I said it, but I'm like, did I? Is it A Space Odyssey? That sounds wrong. So, yay to me. I got it right, but gaslit myself for thinking I got it wrong. This is also where Monolith Soft comes from, is the idea of the Zohar as this huge golden monolith. It is notable for the blue eye sort of gem in the center, and it is dubbed Marienkind, or the Children of Mary, and that'll be important for later. And despite the design differences as seen in Xenogears and Xenoblade 2, the Zohar remains as the same power in each of these examples, although obviously each separate appearance of the Zohar has it function in unique ways, such as acting as the conduit for the wave existence in Xenogears and powering the Trinity processor in Xenoblade. Also, I do want to say, I want to add, as a quick preface, I will bring up some spoiler-ish locations from Xenoblade in this discussion, but usually won't talk about Xenogears, like deep spoilers, because in my retrospectives of sorts, I have Xenoblade stuff all on my channel. That's all there. So you can go refer to that before you check out this. Xenogears is going to be one of the last projects I tackle because there's so much involved with it. So I'm going to refer when things are references to Xenogears, but I'm not going to discuss the spoilers at deep. So that's going to be how I go about this. Now, important also are these things called Zohar emulators. This is a Xenosaga specific thing. These do not appear in Gears or Blade as if we know them yet. They are man-made attempts to recreate the Zohar that were made in the year 4747 TC. This is about 7257 AD. Don't worry about this for now. I'll talk about the time change in a little bit. These emulators were made by a man named Joachim Mizrahi, and we will also talk with him later. Consider him the Xenosaga equivalent of Klaus for now, but not really, but kind of. We'll get into it. This man is very important. Each of the emulators are named after the 12 apostles, and Xenosaga's one main kind of conflict begins when Xion, who's our main character's ship, encounters the emulator dubbed Andrew. All right, let's talk about characters, because that's a lot of big lore stuff that's going to be important later. So let's get to know our main crew. Oh, shit. That was a gimmick I did. I had a similar PowerPoint for Xenoblade 2 before I performed that game's finale. I played that game's finale. I don't know why I said performed. And the Torah Thong from the Xenoblade 2 art book is... Oh, wait, no, this is Xenoblade 3's art book. I love the meme of like, oh shit, that's not supposed to be there. So it's just going to be a continuing trend. We're going to see Torah Thong. Shion Uzuki. She's age 22, and she's a scientist for Vector Industries. This is the company that has created Cosmos, and they are a kind of tech conglomerate. And her boyfriend, Kevin Winnicott, was killed 2 years prior to the story when Vector Labs were raided by UTIC, which is a terrorist organization. We'll talk about them later. And the prototype of Cosmos they had been developing together went on a murder spree, killing Kevin. She has family problems as both of her parents are dead, and she's distant with her brother Jin. We will talk about them later. They are going to be very important much, much down the line. And this bottom part here is a notable tab on her wiki page for mental health and trauma, so you know she's going to be a very deep and developed character. I love Shion a lot. She's very cool. The surname Uzuki is also a reference to the mentor character from Xenogears, Saiten Uzuki, or Shitan Uzuki if you're in Japanese. They renamed it, or they localized it. Based on the fact that Xenosaga is a spiritual prequel to Xenogears, it is notable that Saiten takes the name from his wife Yui, so Saiten's not directly blood related, but it's funny that he marries into the family that carries that surname, because Shion's brother Jin is the XP for Saiten himself. They look very similar and fulfill similar roles. And also of interesting note, most of the primary female characters in Xenosaga are named after flowers. Shion is the Japanese name for the Tatarian Aster, which goes into the role of the NPC in Xenoblade 2, that pairs with these Cosmos quests, where that character who is like a Shion XP is named Estelle. It is the same flower origin. And so Cosmos, she's an android battle unit developed by Shion Uzuki and primarily helmed by Kevin Winnicott prior to his death at Vector Industries. I say developed, but she's more upkept by Shion, as Kevin is the one who designed the core system. She is super powerful, and she's practically the best character in every game. She utilizes the Hilbert effect to draw Gnosis to the physical plane in order to combat them, and we'll talk about Gnosis later. Her name is a recursive anagram that stands for Cosmos Obey Strategical Multiple Operation System. Notably, at the end of Xenosaga 1, in order to protect Shion, she took an almost human-like persona, noted by her blue eyes, versus the normal red that she usually has. The normal Cosmos persona has no recollection of these events when they happen, and as an example, this is what it looks like. So the blue is the strange, almost human life within, and the red is the original programming that we see 98% of the time. This is Alan Ridgely. He's Tristan from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. He is a person who exists, and he has a crush on Shion, and he's a simp. Moving on from Alan, we have Momo Mizrahi. She is a Realian, meaning she's an android outfitted with personality data, though notably she's a 100 series Realian, meaning that she's one of the original series of prototypes. Before the personality data was scrubbed for use as soldiers for war. All future 100 series Realians are modeled on her prototype. And she was built by the late Joachim Mizrahi, hence his surname. She contains something called Y data inside her head. UTIC, the terrorist organization, has kidnapped Momo to extract this data because it has knowledge of that man being Joachim Mizrahi. And Momo's mother figure, Yuli's Mizrahi, tasks a combat cyborg named Ziggurat 8, or Ziggy, to retrieve Momo from UTIC. Not because she cares for the Realian at the gate, but because of the Y data. Yuli Mizrahi kind of sucks in the beginning of the series. She gets better later on, but it's like very clear that she's specifically honing in on that data and less of like, this is something that we have given life that probably should not be in the hands of terrorists. Ziggurat 8. This is dubbed as Ziggy by Momo, and that just becomes what he is called. He was once a man named Jan Sauer who lived 130 years prior to the beginning of Xenosaga Episode 1. He was a Federation counterterrorism agent. but he committed suicide when he was 30, about 4667 TC, after witnessing the murder of his wife Sharon and stepson Joaquin at the hands of a terrorist named Voyager. Now, I know this may sound confusing, but Joaquin, Jan Sauer's stepson, is different from Joachim, the man who made Momo and is going to do a whole bunch of other stuff. They're two different ones that just have similar sort of names. And quick note, the details of Ziggy's backstory was relayed in a spin-off title that came out after Xenosaga 2, but before Xenosaga 3, and it released exclusively on Japanese Vodaphones. Voyager will be important much later in Xenosaga 3, but a lot of the details were not officially released over here, and it has been translated officially, and playthroughs are now available on YouTube. I am going to be talking about this before the Episode 3 video, so we'll just keep that in the back of our minds. Now, back to Ziggy. Back when he was alive, he was registered as a body donor under the Life Recycling Act that was enacted by the Galactic Federation about 47 years before his birth, meaning that upon his death, the company Ziggurat Industries would have their bodies be recycled and turned into cyborgs, with their human rights stripped from them, meaning his role was then to perform duties as contracted by Ziggurat Industries, and thus bringing us back to the present with Yuli Mizrahi contracting him out. Of note, though, the Life Recycling Act was repealed in 4754 TC, and Episode 1 is about 4767, so this was repealed about 13 years before the beginning of the series. Too bad, though, this doesn't count for the already existing Ziggurat models. It just means no new ones are going to be scooped. How sad for Ziggy. Now, another victim of the Life Recycling Act is definitely one we have to talk about. This is Andrew Cherenkov, aka the commander with homophobia in his eyes. He is a Marine commander who's traveling aboard the Woglinde with Shion and crew at the start of the story. Come to find out he's actually in league with Commander Margulis, more on him later, with the Utic organization, more on them later. I know we're pushing stuff out, but we just have a lot of characters to talk about. Poor Andrew, unfortunately, he gets turned into a Gnosis once the crew gets eaten by a big Gnosis and he ends up dead. Rest in peace, but fortunately with the help of some spirit guides, Shion is able to view Cherenkov's memories. We'll talk about the spirit guide stuff much later, there's just so much to talk about right now. Cherenkov's past was that he was originally created as a soldier for war by the Galactic Federation against the Utic organization on the planet Zoar. This became known as the Zoar Incident. Note, this is not the Zohar, but Zoar. They are two different things. They just happen to stem from like a similar source of Jewish mysticism. So the planet is Zoar, and the infinite power engine is Zohar. So he killed many in this event, and then eventually was transferred to the planet Ariadne, though no effort was given to help him adjust as a new civilian. Due to this, he eventually ended up killing someone out of anger. He was then brought in for his actions, and his lawyer, who eventually would become his wife, defended him to avoid capital punishment. After his imprisonment, though, she got him off of the death penalty, but he was to undergo Level 7 personality reconditioning, where nanomachines would be inserted into his brain to control his behavior, in addition to drugs and medication to maintain this. He then finds out his wife is having an online affair, and she only married him so she could obtain a license to have a child by cloning herself. In a fit of anger, Cherenkov kills her. In response to this, he's brought up to a level on his reconditioning, revoking his human rights, and now he's at the same level of rights as a Realian, being owned by the Galactic Federation. He was fine for a while, until he came across a clone of his wife, who promptly called him garbage. He then kills her, like her mother. This brings him up to level 9 personality reconditioning, which failed to control his instincts, and he murders everybody in the testing facility. This is where he meets up with Margulis from Utic. Still, more on them later, but this is where he turns and comes under their wing. Except he's dead now. Margulis, we'll talk a little bit more about him now, but he's sort of the face of Utic for this game. In reality, he's but a lowly commander and not the overall leader, but he's just kind of like the person we have to try to stop for Episode 1 for a little bit. Junior. Guinan Kukai Jr., or otherwise Junior, is the commander of the Durandal ship that the crew run into, and he's Guinan Kukai's older brother, but he seems to enjoy passing off as his son. His real name is Rubido, who is more than just brothers with Guinan, whose real name is Negredo, but he's also brothers with Albedo. More on him very quickly. Junior is revealed to be a Udu retrovirus, a designer child, read as clone, off of a singular template for a mysterious purpose. It is interesting to note that the creation of designer children and URTV units is the major reason why the Life Recycling Act was repealed. Junior is URTV Unit 666, or the 666th designer child created. All 665 URTV units died prior or during the event known as the Miltian Conflict 14 years before the start of the game, and this is going to center about what Episode 2 is around. He is also an XP of a Xenogears character, less so in the design, but more so in the role as the kind of gunsmith. The character is Billy Lee Black, and his being called Little Master is a reference to Bart Fatima of the same game. Now, Gainen Kukai, the senior, is Junior's younger brother, but he has physically shown to age. He is URTV Unit 669, and he is shown to have some level of telekinetic powers that his brother seems to not have, just as Rubido does not seem to physically appear to age, even though he ages. Now we have Albedo. He is URTV Unit 667. Well, that means we have a mystery of who 668 is. Ooh. He was a conjoined twin with Rubido prior to the severing. I can fix him. He ends up being the final boss of Episode 1, because he is pretty nutso, and he has the power to regenerate any of his body parts.
I knew it. I knew I wasn't imagining it.
Such tears. What beauty they hold, these tears of sorrow. Surely they are the most precious substance in the world. But are you worthy to shed such tears? The act of mourning the dead belongs to the realm of humans.
You did this, didn't you?
My beautiful little Kirschwasser. But still, can you really call this a corpse? Frailty, thy name is woman. No, that's not right. You little Realians weren't even born from a woman's womb. The human race, fearful in its weakness, built this world in a futile attempt to elude the abyss they call mortality. Culture, civilization, all delusions created by a powerless race, and of little use, like a barren woman. But amidst all this, you continue to exist as an unfettered soul, free from the shackles of flesh and blood, a completely pure consciousness, an eternal spiral, undefiled by impurities, a fusion of fire, breath, and spirit. What can we call you but angels? New, unadulterated psyches, but what you lack is reality, and that is what I shall provide you with! Ah, ma belle pêche. There's no need to tremble like that. Else, you'll make me feel like a péché myself. Was that a glimpse of a man that I caught in your heart? Who is it? This red-haired Rubido. Oh, it's Rubido. Oh, that's just perfect. Do you know what he said while he coughed up his lifeblood? Except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. Wheat. There's enough of it. We can afford to waste as much as we want. Like my head, you see? What do you think, my beloved Pesh?
Yeah, so he's fun. I like Albedo a lot. He's one of my favorite characters of the series. Now we have Nephilim. She is a spirit that Shion sees multiple times throughout the series who acts as a guide for Shion, especially as she navigates through her own traumas. This is who guides Shion through Andrew Cherenkev's memories, and it is of note she is a Xenogears XP of Ellie from that game, and I cannot talk about this further until we cover Xenogears, but we've seen a lot of Xenogears references up to this point, or quite a few. This is on like a raised level of importance, so it's going to dive into some big things later on. So yeah, that's fun. I'm sorry, Xenosaga is just very dense, and episode 1 is mainly setup that'll be followed up on, so there's a lot to handle. Wilhelm. He's a mysterious white-haired man who talks exclusively in cryptic riddles who doesn't do much of anything in episode 1, except be cryptic. He is the CEO of Vector Industries, Eat the Rich. Chaos! Haha, faked you out. No, this is one half of the Proto-Alvis of Xenosaga. I'll explain what that means later. He's palling around on the Elsa, and the ship Shion and crew migrate to after the Woglinde is torn to bits by the Gnosis. He has strange powers to affect the Gnosis and bring them to the physical plane, similar to Cosmos' Hilbert effect, and his name is always written in lowercase, directly opposing that of Cosmos, who is always written in uppercase. And the Gnosis, we've been talking about them for so long, you can think of them as ghost aliens. They are non-physical creatures that seem to warp into the existence and cause havoc. Normal matter coming in contact with them turns them into pillars of salt. People get assaulted. Oh, fuck, I forgot about Louis Virgil. He's a Galaxy Federation soldier who is super racist to Realians, and he's a bit of a bully to Shion, which is sad. But that's okay, though, because during the Gnosis attack on the Woglinde in the opening, Cosmos opens fire on them and hits him in the process to protect Shion, so he gets killed. That's good. But it gives Shion traumatic flashbacks to when Cosmos' prototype kills Kevin, which is bad. We also meet a character known as the Red Testament. This masked figure is seen talking to Wilhelm in the end credits about some super cryptic business. He's also voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, so you know he's going to be important. And we also have a Blue Testament who shows up near the end of the game. They are seen after Albedo is defeated, gathering up his body. Notably not voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, but he still is going to be important. Now, Utic. They are science terrorists. That's all you need to know about them for now. They're going to be talked about a lot more moving forward, but science terrorists. And that's about it, as the end of episode 1 has us facing off against Albedo on the Proto-Merkaba. We're going to be moving forward to Xenosaga episode 2 next time. If you like this, you should check out my other content. I got the whole Xenosaga series coming up. I got all of Xenoblade uploaded already. It's outside of Xenoblade X, and Xenogears is coming soon. I will be recording the episode 2 recap PowerPoint soon. It's very clearly all done. I have like 175 slides of this whole freaking thing. Check you guys next time.